Gen X, the often overlooked generation, is raising kids who are poised to become the next great leaders. Their unique parenting style, born out of a perfect storm of experiences, is setting their kids up for success in ways that other generations can't match. Much of the toys Gen X grew up with were later banned for being unsafe. They rode around standing up in the backseat of cars or in the beds of pickup trucks, disappeared for hours on their bikes with no way to contact or be located, and ran into the store to buy their parents beer and cigarettes. They drove lawnmowers and tractors before turning 10 years old and were completely self-sufficient for hours while their parents worked or went out. 90% of the things they were allowed to do as children would send a parent to prison today. Here are 7 reasons why Generation X is preparing the next generation of great leaders. Number 1, Gen X's latchkey kid childhood. Do you know how Gen X kids were raised back in the day? Well, let me tell you, they had it rough. These guys were the original latchkey kids. You see, when they were little, their parents were always working hard to put food on the table. So after school, these kids had to fend for themselves. No babysitters, no fancy after-school programs. Just them, alone at home, trying to figure out how to survive until mom and dad got back. Now you might think that sounds terrible, but let me tell you, it toughened these kids up in a way that other generations can't even imagine. They had to learn how to take care of themselves, how to problem solve, how to be responsible. It was like a crash course in adulting, and they passed with flying colors. And you know what? These Gen Xers are passing down those same valuable skills to their own kids. They're teaching them to be independent thinkers, to take charge of their own lives, to not rely on others for everything. They're empowering their kids to be self-sufficient, to solve their own problems, to be responsible for their own actions. It's like a superpower. This generation raised by Gen X are growing up with a level of independence and self-reliance that other generations can only dream of. And you know what that means? They're going to be the ones who take charge, who lead the way, who shape the future. Because when you've been fending for yourself since you were a kid, you ain't afraid of no challenge. You're ready to take on the world, and that's exactly what these Gen X kids are going to do. Number 2, skepticism of authority. Growing up, Gen Xers witnessed a lot of shady dealings and corruption from those in power. Political scandals, corporate greed, it was everywhere. So it's no surprise that this generation developed a healthy skepticism towards authority figures. They learned not to blindly trust or follow, but to question and think for themselves. And you know what? They're passing that same critical thinking mindset onto their kids. Gen X parents aren't raising their children to be sheep who just accept everything they're told. Nope, they're encouraging their kids to question the status quo, to challenge conventional wisdom, to form their own opinions. It's like they're giving their kids a superpower, the ability to think independently. And let me tell you, that's a crucial skill for any future leader to have. Leaders can't just blindly follow the herd. They need to be able to think outside the box, to see things from a different perspective, to be willing to go against the grain when necessary. That's exactly what the children of Gen X are learning. They're not just accepting things at face value. They're digging deeper, asking questions, and forming their own conclusions. And that kind of independent thinking is going to serve them well as they grow into leadership roles. Number 3, technological savviness. Gen Xers were the first generation to really grow up with computers and the internet. While the rest of us were still using typewriters and encyclopedias, these guys were already surfing the web and playing around with technology. And you know what that means? They're tech-savvy is the word. Now, being tech-savvy might not sound like a big deal, but let me tell you, in today's digital age, it's a game changer. Gen Xers aren't just teaching their kids how to use a computer or navigate the internet. They're equipping them with valuable digital skills from an early age. We're talking coding, graphic design, video editing. You name it, the children of Gen X are mastering these skills. And that's huge, because the world is becoming more and more tech-driven every single day. Jobs that didn't even exist a decade ago are now in high demand, and they all require some serious digital skills. By giving their kids a head start in the tech world, Gen Xers are setting them up for success in a way that other generations simply can't match. Their kids are going to have a competitive edge in the job market, and that's going to open up all kinds of opportunities for them. Number 4. Work-life balance values. Back in the day, a lot of Gen Xers had parents who were total workaholics. They were always at the office, always putting in extra hours, and always sacrificing their personal lives for their careers. And you know what? Gen Xers saw how unhealthy and unfulfilling that kind of lifestyle can be. That's why, when it comes to their own parenting, Gen Xers are all about work-life balance. They're not raising their kids to be stressed out, burned out husks who live for their jobs. Nope, they're teaching them the importance of self-care and prioritizing their mental and physical well-being. It's like they're giving their kids a secret weapon for success, the ability to recharge their batteries and avoid burnout. Because let's be real, being a leader is tough work. It's stressful, it's demanding, and it can take a serious toll on your mind and body if you're not careful. By instilling the value of work-life balance in their kids from an early age, Gen Xers are setting them up to be the kind of leaders who can go the distance. Their kids won't just be sprinting toward success. They'll be running a marathon, pacing themselves and taking care of their mental and physical health along the way. And that's huge, because burnout is a real problem for leaders. If you're not taking care of yourself, you're not going to be able to take care of your team or your organization. But the children of Gen X, they're going to have the stamina and resilience to push through the tough times and come out on top. Number 5. Emphasis on practical skills. You know what sets Gen Xers apart from other generations? Their emphasis on practical skills. See, these guys grew up during times of economic uncertainty. They saw their parents struggle with job losses and financial instability. So they learned early on that having practical, real-world skills was crucial for survival. And now, as parents themselves, they're passing on those same valuable skills to their kids. We're talking about things like budgeting, home repairs, basic car maintenance, you know, the kind of stuff that most people have to learn the hard way. However, the next generation raised by Gen X, they're getting a head start. Their parents are teaching them how to manage their money, how to fix things around the house, how to be self-sufficient, and let me tell you, those skills are going to give them a serious advantage in the real world. Because here's the thing, leaders aren't just born, they're forged through experience. And by exposing their kids to practical, hands-on skills from an early age, Gen Xers are giving them the tools they need to become adaptable, resourceful leaders. Number 6. Openness to diversity. In today's globalized world, diversity and inclusion aren't just buzzwords, they're essential for success. And Gen Xers get that. This is a generation that values different cultures and perspectives, and they're making sure to pass that openness on to their kids. From exposing them to different languages and traditions, to encouraging them to embrace diverse viewpoints, Gen X parents are raising their kids to be culturally aware and empathetic. And trust me, those are qualities that are going to be invaluable for future leaders. Because let's face it, the world is becoming more and more interconnected every day. Businesses are going global, teams are becoming more diverse, and leaders need to be able to navigate different cultural landscapes with ease. But the children of Gen X, with their exposure to diverse perspectives from an early age, are going to have a leg up in that department. They'll be able to understand and connect with people from all walks of life, which is going to make them more effective communicators, collaborators, and ultimately, better leaders. Number 7. Resilience in the face of adversity. If there's one thing Gen Xers know a thing or two about, it's resilience. This is a generation that's been through it all. Economic recessions, job insecurity, societal challenges, you name it. And yet, they've managed to bounce back time and time again. That kind of resilience and perseverance is something that can't be taught in a classroom or learned from a textbook. It's forged through lived experience, through facing adversity head-on and coming out stronger on the other side. And you know what? Gen Xers are passing down that invaluable trait to their kids. They're teaching them that setbacks and failures are inevitable, but that doesn't mean you give up. You pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and keep pushing forward. That kind of mindset is going to serve their kids well as they take on leadership roles. Because let's be real, being a leader is tough. There are going to be challenges, there are going to be obstacles, there are going to be times when you feel like throwing in the towel. But the children of Gen X, they're going to have the resilience and perseverance to power through those tough times. They're going to know that failure isn't the end, it's just a stepping stone on the path to success. As you can see, Gen X's parenting style has all it takes to groom the future leaders. With their unique blend of independence, critical thinking, technological prowess, balanced values, hands-off approach, practical skills, diversity exposure, and resilience. Gen X's kids are poised to become the next generation of great leaders, equipped with the tools to tackle the challenges of the future.